And we are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to It is Soul Sister Thursday on Soul Therapy with Lady D. So when I was meditating the other day and I wanted to do kind of like a divine feminine show, the Lord put in my mind Empower Hour because we need empowerment and encouragement because
It's only just
um,
starting now, Dee.
yeah. Well, in my readings and just I've been getting so many messages on my from my website and email and stuff, and people are just really in the thick of it, and they're um really down and out. And to tell you the truth, I kind of can't blame them. I mean, we've all been really disappointed with the hurry up and wait with all the truther stuff. So
Yeah.
it's very discouraging. So, first and foremost, let me say, I have as my banner, my tickler, Save the Children Worldwide, because
Yeah.
first and foremost, everything is about the children, okay, and about stopping sex trafficking and human trafficking, especially
Human
what they do with
trafficking.
the children. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the foremost. Um, and second of all, I wanted to give a special shout out to both Jasons. They had a phenomenal show
Oh
last
my
night.
God.
Just when you thought that the Light Warrior Network, if you did not watch the live with Soldier of Light and Prince of Peace, the two Jasons last night, you really should.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal info. I mean, the info was just priceless. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Exactly.
go and watch it and take notes,
He's
really.
great. Listen, I
Isn't
believe I believe everything. Listen, I feel like they do 1,000%. So I mean,
Jason knows what he's talking about. He's been doing a lot of
yeah,
research on that soldier. So and just epic, epic. So thank you. And they're so good to me. They always shout me out. So I love you guys. Thank you so much, my brothers. They're so great to me, my soul brothers.
yep.
And also you notice that in in the chat I put Chrissy's website for Chrissy's book, The Curse.
The
So if
Kirsten
you have
Kelly
not
Chronicles.
up, please do. It's in the website is in chat.
The and it was so funny because I am rereading it right now because I'm taking down like, okay, what loose ends did I leave for two, because I'm gonna really start doing that. And actually, it's so funny because I don't even think that I'm like, did I write this? Like, you know how like when you're like reading, I'm like, I don't remember putting that in there, but I guess I did. And so it's been kind of fun to like read it. Yeah, because anyway, yeah. So you just want a fun book, and there is truth in it, and that's all I'm saying.
It's
Fun
fun.
book.
It's fun. So I wanted to get up and just to reiterate what the boy said last night about moving forward. We are in charge of our lives. We have been lied to our whole
Mm-hmm.
lives, and people are really giving into the fear and the anxiety and giving into the thoughts that the devil, the demon, the cabal system wants us to. And we can't give up. We can't give in. So the Lord put in my hour, the empowerment hour. So this is what we're doing. I'm going to give you some biblical scripture. I'm going to remind you of the divine child of God that you are, how powerful we really are, how we have the word of God, how the God is within us, that God is within us. And we need to remind ourselves, especially when we're low. Oh, look
Oh,
at who wants to come in with
cutie.
us.
Oh, I just
So
want to
cute.
kiss.
Oh,
Oh,
so
so
cute.
cute. She's
Hi,
so
puppy.
cute. She's like,
You
I'm
see,
here.
now that she's here, she doesn't know what to do. She's like,
I know.
who is
Yeah,
She's
she's our mascot.
this
She's
is
mascot to the divine
Yes.
feminine.
now the other one
So
wants.
one of the main things that I wanted to talk
Oh my
about
god.
was
Look, it's another little puppy. Oh my god, so
so
cute. Their little faces are so cute.
they are cute.
That's
Okay.
So
adorable.
what I wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about to take back God's authority. Okay, so um I watch a lot of Julie Green. I'm sure you girls do
Yeah.
too. I know that you guys love Julie
Yeah.
Green. And Cheryl talks about God's authority because one of the things that I never learned in church was, we went through scriptures and stuff like that. We haven't really taken back our authority. And God's authority is God has always given us this authority, and we've been disempowered and lied to by the cabal system and by being brainwashed since we came out of our mom's wombs.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says we overcome the world. Okay, so we're in this world, but we're not of it. And you know, I think we read these scriptures and we know all this, but we just get sucked back into the 3D. And it's very easy for us to do. And one of the things the boys was talking about last night is the phones. Okay. One of the first things is that
Yeah.
when we get up, first looking at our phones, and that's a horrible thing to do. So I remember a few weeks ago, I did kind of like a social media and a kind of like a technology blackout. And, I have a business, so I have to do a little bit of social media, but I would check my Instagram and I would check my email and check my website and such like and beginning of the day. But then during the day, shut off all my alerts. You can actually, turn off your alerts on Instagram and whatnot, turn down your phone, and then just kind of doing it at night. And it really is amazing because we don't realize how this sucks the life out of us. I mean, yes, we need to know certain things, but when we're looking at constant, scrolling and scrolling of all this negative information, we think it doesn't bother us. It really does. It really affects us. So the way we start the day is imperative. And it's a snowball effect. So just like the boy said last night, just starting the day with thanking, having gratitude, and taking a little time, even if it's just 10 minutes of centering yourself. You could do a little meditation, do some affirmations, do some prayers. Just set the tone for the day. So when you go forth, you have that armor of God, so to speak, on us. And God, don't watch the news. I don't think anyone in this chat or anyone that's going to watch the show watches the news. And we're pretty isolated, the three of us. We all work from home and whatnot. But even when we go out during the day, I just think we're all at the point now that we don't have to turn anyone. It's not our job to wake anyone up. What our job is just to keep ourselves centered and focused and up here, raised up here. Because right now we're all the crabs in the when you go, what do you call it? The crabs in the bucket. Okay, so we're all crawling to get up. And sometimes when we crawl, there's some that want to like bring us down, and that's not necessarily their meaning to do it. These are just people that are just asleep or not as awake as the rest of us, and or they're just the Debbie Downers, the people that don't want to stop talking about their old story.
Yeah.
They just want to stay in that story. So I just think that we really have to every day start off the day reminding ourselves of who we are, and just throughout the day keep reminding ourselves who we are. And also it's imperative to have a relationship with the Lord, okay, with the Lord. So what do you think about that? Is that something that you do? What you do? What do you say, Carrie, aspiring alchemist? I haven't been on screen with you for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. First thing when I wake up, I don't even open my eyes yet. And I'm asking God for messages, just whatever He feels is important for me to know at the time. And that's really important to do at that exact moment in the day, because you don't have that monkey brain going yet. Your mind isn't going a mile a minute with, I got to do this, I got to do that. So it's the very best time of the day, because you're just still in that nice, what is it, gamma or whatever
Sort of like in between dream state and
Yeah,
kind of awake.
right.
Yeah.
So I just ask for messages and then hope that I stay out of the way so I can hear, you know. Um, I'm trying to think of what I heard this morning. I was being told about my dogs, for one thing. I don't know why I got the message that, well, they both chose me and they're meant to be with me. So it was like, don't place them elsewhere. And I'm thinking, well, why would you tell me that? Of course I'm not going to. Like, okay. So they wouldn't be nearly as happy with anyone else. Okay, well, that makes
Yep.
sense. Yeah. Um, so I never know what I'm going to get,
Mhm.
but I always get some kind of message. The other morning I heard we can have an EMP by the 24th or 25th, and I'm like, I
Oh
thought
my
God
God.
doesn't keep dates.
What?
I'm like,
EMP?
yeah, or something like it.
Mhm. I believe it. It could be.
I thought, well, I thought we didn't go with dates, but I'm like, okay, I wrote it down.
Wow. Interesting.
That is interesting. Well, you never know. You just don't know. It's things could change, but maybe it's just trying to get you revved up and ready. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, right.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't look at my phone
Prepared.
for at least an hour, and then I'll just check in and see what's important, and then once again I set it aside and I go outside and water all my food plants and then walk the dogs and just try and really be stay centered and with my own energy instead of
Mhm.
scattering my energy by looking at all these things online.
Yeah, absolutely. What say you, Chrissy? How do you start your day?
Well,
And do you agree about the social media blackout, so to speak?
yeah, I'm getting better. Okay, so this is I will confess. Okay, so first thing I do, I mean, I do look at my phone, but I only look at it because I'm trying to see what time it is. Okay, so I do that. And then lately, my ritual is I get up, make my coffee, feed the cats, and then I go outside for 10, 15 minutes. Because, I mean, I can see the water from where I'm at. It's great. So I just sit out there and I just think about, like, okay, what I usually do is I say, okay, whatever you want, God, just lead me there. That because that's the kind of mind frame I'm at because of the fact that I don't know where anything. I don't know anything. Like I guess what am I trying to say? In order to try and manifest, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Manifest what I want. That's what I do. So I talk and I say, well, my in your hands. You take it from here. I've done everything that I need to do to move forward. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much all I've been doing. I will confess also that it's only been in the last probably 6 months or so during this time frame of me writing the book and all of that stuff that I finally stopped going to every single freaking website, every single, like, I used to go on Telegram and I was over there and I was looking, oh, what did Janine put up? What did all these people put up? And then I was looking at all the articles. I was sending out articles to people. I was like, listen, it was like take 2, 3 hours out of the morning. I would be doing that, and I was
Oh,
doing that, and I was watching, all the. I was watching mainly well, Julie Green, but I was also watching X22 all the time. X22 and Restored Republic, and really finally, thankfully, because of the focus of the book, it got me out of that because I was bad. I will tell you. I mean, I was just looking at stuff all day, pretty much, like intermittently. I mean, it's not like I'm on my phone like this, but I was doing that, and I think now my whole focus has shifted, and now I'm not looking at anything, and the only time I hear anything my is when, like, my friend Diana might send me something, a clip here and there, or the two Jasons. That's it. So it's been actually liberating, and I'm not on like all the time looking for stuff, and I'm just watching like stuff from the 80s, okay, 70s and 80s. If I just want to clear my mind and I have just something stupid to watch, I'm watching my old soap operas from the 1980s. That's what I've been doing. So that's sort of how I've been living the last 6-7 months, like that. But I still do look at my phone just briefly to see what time it is. Then I do go out and I take a 10-15 minute breather and just kind of, like, God, here I am. Whatever you want for my life is you're in control, because I can't control anything at this point.
I say that when I used to get up and look at the first thing I do, if I looked at my phone, I'd go from, especially Instagram, you go from one and it's just so addicting to another. And then it's like 2 or 3 hours. And then I noticed that my mood would be horrendous.
Yes.
I'd be in a horrible mood because,
It's true.
I guess we need to know this information, but how much, if it's so negative, do we really need to know? I mean, it was just overwhelming and would just be too much.
And I
So
believe
I definitely stopped doing that, definitely, because it's what we're looking at is just horrendous.
And I do think that there's some kind of frequency. Listen, you got to remember that the light, the LED light, is not good for us, obviously,
Oh
and that's what we're looking
Our
at on our
phones.
phone. And
Yeah.
and I do believe that between the LED light and whatever frequencies and that they put embed within the algorithm of what we're watching, looking at, wreaks havoc with your brain, and it just brings your vibrational level down. It brings your energy down because you're
Right.
so mired in it. It's like it's a huge matrix. It is a huge matrix trigger. It makes it so that you don't want to leave. You're like, oh my God, if I leave, what's going to happen? It's almost like that mentality.
Yep.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Another thing too that I've noticed is that the reason why the three of us pretty much we're like hermits. Because we're awake and we're very starseeds, whatever you want to call it. I hate using labels, whatever. We're just spiritually oriented.
Yeah.
It's just people. I have a hard time with small talk because I don't want to talk about politics. Religion. I don't believe in religion. I call myself a recovering Catholic. I don't want to talk about world events because, and people, all they want to do is complain. And I feel that it's like the more that you meditate and the more you're trying to focus on your ascension and you want to heal, I just find that some people, and I find this in my soul therapy sessions and my readings, is like they ask me the same question and I give them the same answers. And in the soul therapy sessions, they'll talk about the same things over and over again. And comes to a certain point, insanity is doing the same things and expecting different results. It's like we have to move on, but people are so comfortable in their misery. They're so comfortable in that victimization. They're comfortable in their complaints. They're comfortable in their misery because that's all they know. And they hang on to that identity. And we have to really reorient our minds to who we really are. We're stuck in these, we're in this, the false matrix. I love how Carrie K, we all watch Carrie K. He calls it the false matrix. And this is the false 3D self, right?
Right.
So right now we're stuck in between because we have the people that are kind of in we're in 4D, that we're vibrating, the whole world's in 4D. That's why some people are getting really, really sick. Like my husband is having digestive issues and stuff because I feel that he's a starseed, but he's not. So some people aren't who aren't as spiritually oriented and aren't doing the spiritual work and meditating, they're getting physically ill.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at 4D right now. We're trying to get to 5D when we ascend. So we're in this juggling act. You know the card I think was the Two of Pentacles. I forget.
Yeah,
But
it is.
the juggling card, the Two of Pentacles, we're
Mhm.
juggling. And it's disorienting, but we want to be here. But people are still talking about here. And
Right.
we're still thinking very linear and very limited base. I mean, it says even, okay, so I want to get to John. What's it like? What is this? John? Let me see. John. It says it right here, even in scripture. Okay. Um, and this is the amplified version. 1 John 5. Everyone who believes that Jesus is the Christ, the Messiah, okay, is
Mhm.
born again, child of God. And everyone who loves the Father also loves the one born of him. By this, we come to know that we love the children of God when we love God and obey his commands, okay?
Mhm.
For the love of God is this, that we do his commands. And what his commands are, people think his commands are the commandments. No, his commands are his word.
Right.
So and what his words, so he's telling us, okay, he tells us, take ownership of our life,
Mhm.
take ownership of our mentality, take
Mhm.
ownership. And how do we do that? Through the words of God.
Mhm.
It says, he who believes the Son of God has the testimony. Okay, so we possess all of this. We have the power of God within us, but we continuously teeter back. And I'm not judging anyone because I do it too.
Oh
Whenever
yeah.
there's a bill that comes in the mail, or something happens, or someone cuts us off, or someone pisses us off,
Right.
but it's very hard to remember these things. But um we have to stay focused on where we want to be and not our stories. And it's really hard with pain. So I wanted to give to get your take on people with going through physical pain, because like I said, I'm a wimp, and I know that you guys have dealt with physical pain, and especially you, Chrissy, you deal with pain.
Mhm.
So how do you deal with it, and how do you tell people, especially when people look at you and say, well, if God was real and if there was a God, how come this happened to me? How come I'm in pain? What
Well,
would you say?
I I think some of it, and I do think that you create the life and the world in which you are living in. I went through a very dark period. I mean, right after my sister died, it was bad. I mean, my sister died. I've got all kinds of family bullshit that goes on. In the middle of that, I mean, I've had three back surgeries, three stomach surgeries, and I was in and out of the hospital, and it's very hard to get out of that mindset. It's about, listen, like I I guess it's the strength that you have within you to just keep going. It's very hard, okay? Because when you're in that cycle of my body hurts. I mean, I'm sitting here right now, my lower back and my legs are tingling, okay? My legs are tingling, my back's killing me because I'm sitting straight up, God forbid, right? I've got my little stool here, I'm doing what I can. But you have to sort of I don't even know how to explain it. You have to somehow put that aside. Put that aside and change your mindset. It's about mindset. And even through everything that I've ever been, all my physical, all the crap that I've been through in my life, you just kind of you learn to just I don't know. I've learned to be more positive, and like I think focus is a huge thing. When you're sick and you're in and out of the hospital all the freaking time, and you're having issues, and you get stifled and you feel like, oh my God, am I ever going to get out of this? Whatever. And it's a mindset. Is all I can tell you. I don't know what gives me the courage. I mean, I just feel like I just live with it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of like, okay, I will just push through. For instance, I'll give you guys a fantastic example. the Seabrook. When I was at Seabrook a couple of Saturdays ago, I had a book booth there, and I was there for 6, 7 hours. Okay, and I did have my friend was helping me, but I had to physically carry some things. I had to, and even just sitting there, I mean, it was hard. By the time I got home, my entire body hurt. I did not move for 3 days. I mean, it was bad. And I'm like, is it worth it? And in the end, I said, yes, it is worth it, because the little bit of joy that I got from meeting people and from showing my people my book, whatever, it gave me the joy to just keep going. And so, yeah, I'm gearing up again because I'm going to do it again in a couple of weeks. And, it is hard. But like what I always do is I just push through. You push through. I mean, it's hard. You push through. What I do is I push through all day, and I go, okay, well, at the end of this, I will just collapse, and I'll recover. I'll have to. It takes time for me to recover a little bit. From being able to do that. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a mindset, and it's a fact that you change your focus, and you focus on what it is that you wanted to accomplish. And I think that's it, because a lot of people don't have any personal goals, and if you can find what you love to do, it makes it 1,000 times easier. Because I was an investigator. I mean, I started, as an investigator when I first hurt my back in 1999. And I mean, I worked all the way through 3 surgeries, and it was hard. But you know what? I loved my job. Oh, I did it. And that's what you do. If it's something that you love to do, no matter what it is, you push through it, and God will give you time to recover afterwards. That's sort of how I've been dealing with everything.
Cool.
That's pretty much what when I asked my husband how he does it, because he has a lot of the same issues you do, Chrissy. He has all kinds of back issues and other things. The same thing. It's mind. I mean, it doesn't take away the pain, but your mind frame does help help you get through it, and kind of distract yourself and helps mitigate it. How do you deal with physical pain, and what would you say to somebody, Carrie, that says, oh, like there is no God, or there is no Almighty, there is no supernatural force source, because if there was a God, I wouldn't be in pain, or my husband wouldn't have left me, yada yada yada, so to speak. Because these are real questions, and I often get stumped because we're not God. I always say it's Satan, it's not God, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't. So I had my first migraine headache at 6 years old. And those are intense and really incredibly painful headaches. And I have a little bit of it. See if it helps. Uh-oh, what happened? I'm gone.
You're still here.
Okay. So I mean, I had to learn at a very early age how to deal with that. I mean, 6 years old. And I would have to go to the principal's office in the middle of the school day and ask to have my mom come get me. I mean, I was handicapped with pain throughout my childhood, and then as an adult, then with my back. I guess because it started so early, I never thought of it as God punishing me. It just is what it is,
Right.
And my mom also has migraines, so at least I had a parent who understood it. Because her mother did not understand when she was a kid and she was having migraines. Her mom didn't understand, and it would always happen to her when they went on vacation. It was like nerve-wracking for some reason for my mom to go on vacation. She'd always have horrible migraines on vacation, and her mom once accused her of doing it on purpose to ruin the vacation. And can you imagine?
No. Wow, little kid. I mean, that's horrible.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
So so at least I had a mom who was very compassionate about it and apologetic even. She was like, I'm so sorry I passed this on to you, you know, and so at least I was understood. But I never thought I was being punished. It just is what it is. And you just learn to work within your limitations.
Yeah, that's great because that is what it is. You learn to work within your limitations. So it's kind of like,
Yeah,
you just whatever you can do. Like it might be a little bit different than like if I was healthier or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I love
right.
that analogy, Carrie, because it's true. You learn to sort of work with what you have.
Yeah, and you learn what the triggers are and you learn how to avoid that. And so, you know, would it be nice to get all my errands done in one day? Yes, but if I do that,
Yes,
then
it's
I'll be
not
in a
gonna.
lot more pain, you know?
Yeah,
So better to split it up. So you just work within your limitations. And yeah, I think it is a mindset and an attitude as well,
hmm
like everything in life.
yeah, for
And
sure.
one of the things that I loved last night on the Jason's to the Light Warrior Network was the gratitude, and that's
Yeah,
another thing too. Is when you set your mind to what you're thankful for, even if it's just that I had this little treat, even if it's just like an ice cream I had today, or that I woke up for, that I have this meal, or thank you. Even if you just have $5, thank you for that $5. Thank you that I have a bed to sleep in. Thank you that I can
yeah,
walk. Thank you that I can see, I can touch, I can taste, I can smell. Thank you for the
mhm,
soul tribe. Thank you for Carrie, for
Mm-hmm.
Chrissy, all the people I
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
love, my husband, my family. We have to be thankful for what we have, because you
yeah,
know the story. There's always someone that has it better, that the grass is always greener, but there's always someone that has it a lot worse. So we have to be
yeah,
thankful for what we have. Um, and that when we set our mind frame, I think Chrissy, you had said earlier about the energy. There is energy in our thoughts. There's energy in our words
yeah,
that when we speak. I have a friend that always says, "Oh, that's my luck. I have the worst luck. I have shit luck." And I always say, "Stop saying that." And she said, "I'm just
yeah.
kidding." And I'm like, "No, the universe doesn't get humor or sarcasm.
Right.
Um, it's literal. I don't you agree? Don't you agree? And if
Oh
people
yeah.
keep on retelling their story about their illness and their pain in their life, they're never going to move forward or heal, because the energy of that. We all know that every illness starts with energy. Don't you agree? Would you
Oh yeah.
agree, Carrie?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, because I mean, like, yes, there are. I mean, Delphine. I mean, and Carrie. I've spoken to you both, and I'm like, I can't sleep, or I'm having such a. But the thing is it's okay to complain a little bit. But the
Yeah.
key is to get yourself out of it, because I mean, yes, I have days where I'm like, oh my, like even today, Delphine and I were talking. Our energy. I mean, I was literally, I will tell you, I was in bed all the way up till about an hour before we went live, and I was not feeling good, and my legs were bothering me. Blah blah blah. What I mean, but I got myself up, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do this freaking show. I don't care. And that's sort of the mindset that you have to have. You have to just like go for it. And
Yeah.
and 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 not only that, but I do think too, because we're a great example for people. I think who that when you create the life, the world in which you live in. So if your vision is only on that 24/7, that's the
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be all negative, all negative, all negative.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I say find something that distracts you and change the mindset. Even if it's something simple as, you want to go outside down to the beach for a minute. I mean, like, it's so simple to get out of that. But it takes work. I mean, Delphine, I mean, I've spoken to you. I mean, you're like, you got to, and it's true. You have to not talk about it, as not that you can't talk about it, but try to like focus on something else. Change your mindset to something positive.
Right. And having, you can talk about, if you're in pain or whatever, but it's just people that's all they talk about. It's like, from my mother, for instance, she identifies with her pain. Like her illness,
Yes.
you ask how she's doing, she'll tell you all her illnesses and identify, that's her identity,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like,
Right.
you're not your illness, you're not what you have, you're not, yeah, it's just, and I do think having a passion for something, you just have to have, we've lost our zest for life. You know, it's all about survival, and
Right.
we need to cut the shit with that. We need to stop, and even if it's 5 or 10 minutes a day, do something, be like a kid again.
Yes.
Just do something that makes your heart sing. Even if you go in your room and singing or coloring, I don't care, coloring, doing a crossword puzzle or something that you love, something artistic. What is it that interests you? That also can, you have to, everything's about focus.
Mm-hmm.
If you're constantly focusing on your pain, whether if it's physical, mental. I mean, the same thing. I feel like the focus, if you focus, whether it's physical or mental pain, if you try to refocus and distract yourself, it really, really helps mitigate it. So
It
if
does.
you're, for grief, I know a lot of people that right after, if somebody passes on or after a relationship ends and they grieve, one of the first things they say is that I want to work. I don't want to sit home because if I sit home, I'm just going to think about it. But if I work, I'm
Right.
distracted. So distracting yourself. And I find too that if I'm down in the dumps, like when I helping others, going
Yeah.
on and doing something for someone else, it's like getting out of yourself, getting out of your own way because you get stuck in that energy and you realize, okay, so sometimes, like Chrissy said earlier, I haven't felt good all day. I feel it's the energy is really, really intense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess all the mystics say that we're being bombarded with light codes and light
Yeah.
energy and vibration and stuff like that and frequency. So I feel we're exhausted, but we have to like just, and I didn't feel like doing the show. I don't have sometimes by the end of the day I don't feel like doing shows, but it's that will. And once you get going, once you get up and you start doing it, you feel better instead of
Yes.
just sitting around. So it's that momentum, it's the will, and it's also that having the will for something, wanting to help, having a passion, and just taking that first step. What say
Mm-hmm.
you, Chrissy?
I say yes, 1,000%. I mean, this is the thing that's so funny about that is because, it is when you're thinking about it's an energy exchange when you're thinking about helping another person or I mean anything that you do, but if you just think of something helping another person or being creative because we're very creative beings and they try to squash that and that's why I say this AI stuff, stay out of it, people, stay out of it because it's not good. It's demonic. It isn't good. I have a friend of mine that's like, oh well, might as well use it. And I'm like, no, I don't want. Why do you want AI to create another you? Why do you want that in the world? I mean, we are very unique, special, magical individuals, and we need to get back to that. And the whole thing is that you have to know within yourself that you are a special person, and we are. There's only one of us. That's the other thing I wanted to say. There's only one unique Chrissy. There's no other anybody else. Even if an AI try, you can't because I have a soul. We are very individual, unique beings, and we have the ability to. It's mind over matter. You have to remember we only use 10% of our brain. Can you imagine if we actually use more of our brain? How amazing we could heal ourselves. And they want to keep us down. That's what the matrix is all about. That's what's so important to stay focused. Find something that you love, get creative, make sure you stay connected to God and to Yeshua. I mean, that's all life is supposed to be. That's it.
Well, that's well said. That's well said. And Carrie, so Carrie, I wanted you to go over that process that we were speaking about, where you texted
Yeah.
me about. think that would be very, very helpful. So I'm going to let you to have the rest of the floor for the rest of for the
Okay.
last 15 to 20 minutes or so.
And
Because I think it'd be really, really helpful.
something Chrissy said just like beautifully led into that. You know, you were saying that we only use maybe 10% of our brain, and you know, use your imagination. Didn't you just say that?
Yep.
Well, this is exactly what I did Monday morning. About 5 years ago, in 2018, I had a spiritual teacher I was taking classes from, and she said, you know, you can change your reality by changing the outcome of a traumatic event that you went through. So you take that traumatic event and you reimagine a different ending, a happy ending. An ending in which, instead of you being the victim, you empowered yourself. So I had a really I had a dark night of the soul. My first one, I've had several, but my first one at 11 years old, when I was in the 6th grade. Like every bad thing you can imagine happened that year. And not the least of which is that I was yanked out of my neighborhood, my home, I was away from my whole entire extended family, my best friend. My dad decided he didn't want to live in Flatland, suburb of Chicago, any longer, and he moved the entire family to Salt Lake City so he could ski. You know this story. You know this story already because you lived there too.
Yep.
Got moved there too. So it was also mean girl age. 6th grade is mean girl age. So I get there to my first day of school. First of all, I'm wearing shorts. Well, you do that where I came from. Well, to the Mormons, that's a big no-no. You don't wear shorts. First strike against me. I first walk into the classroom, and immediately I'm told, you're not supposed to be wearing shorts. Okay. Then I open my mouth to speak, and I have this Chicago accent. Oh, you're a foreigner. And then I didn't know. Then I didn't know what a ward was.
Oh, yeah, the ward.
And that's what they call their various churches.
Mm.
It's what ward do you belong to? Which district? Which church? Yeah. And I was like, what are you talking about? Hospital? What are you talking about? So anyway, I was bullied from then on. And the thing is, none of the adults in my life, they all failed me. Every single adult. My parents failed me, the school counselor failed me, my teacher failed me. Nobody helped me. And I haven't even told you the half of it. It got worse. But I don't want to focus on all that. I want to focus on what I did about it. So the other day, you know, like I got up Monday morning, and unfortunately, instead of just listening to what God had for me or whatever, I just started ruminating over that 6th grade experience and how mad I still am to this day. And I was like, that does it. I am so tired of this story. This is ridiculous. You know, that was 44 years ago. For the love of God, Carrie, let it go. Right?
Right.
So I remembered what my teacher, Pamela, had taught me. And I said, okay, well, I need to reimagine a different ending to this. And it was funny because I had already planned that I was going to roll up my sleeves and really get the house cleaned first thing Monday morning. And I sat down with the tarot cards, and I just went, okay, what's my priority for the day? Do I need to do this reimagining or clean the house? And so I said, do I need to make this reimagining my priority? And I pull out the very first card was the Ace of Cups.
No way.
It
Oh my
was. And I
That's
was like,
awesome.
okay, that's all I needed to know. That's my priority. So after I got the dogs fed and their breakfast and everything, then I just sat down and I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? Because it was really incredibly difficult for me to imagine any of those adults doing anything different, especially my
Yeah.
parents. Like that was tough for me. I was like, I can't imagine my parents have doing anything differently. I wish I could imagine it, but I can't. So what I ended up doing was I imagined me, the 11-year-old, instead of just letting the world use me as their welcome mat, and just being poor me, but not saying anything or doing anything about it. And I'm not criticizing that 11-year-old. She really didn't know what to do, and she was completely overwhelmed.
Right.
And she wasn't getting any support. And when you're a kid, you should be supported. So I reimagined the whole thing with me standing in my power, and I demanded a conference between my teacher, the school counselor, and both of my parents. I said, I want a conference. We are all going to sit down and talk about this, and so I just was this empowered 11-year-old demanding what I, said, was saying, this is what needs to happen, and this is how you need to support me. Well, I felt so good by the time I was done with that meditation. I was like, wow, because I never had a resolution.
Yeah.
I think that's why it was bothering me for 44 years. There was never a resolution. It's just the school year ended and we had summertime, and then junior high started after that, and junior high was much better. And so I just slowly started to come back into myself. But I had gone into a really deep depression at 11 years old.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But because there was never a resolution, I think that's why it was still bothering me. And so
after you, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. So after you did it, so after you did the thing, how did you feel, or how do you know that it worked? And tell us more about the process. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's too early to know if I'll ever start ruminating about it again, right? But and then yesterday, I sat down for another hour and I went over it again, and I was like, I really want to put this to bed. I really want this done. And then I'm going to go on and do it with other traumas.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, it's hard to say what the long-term result will be, but I really think it worked, and here's why. Because I feel like the sting was taken out of it. I feel like because I reimagined myself empowered, I don't know. It's like I think about it now and I feel neutral. And I've never felt neutral about it, ever.
Very interesting. There is a guy named Brian Scott that does meditations, and it's called rescripting. So, and he says that when you it's like you go back in time, because there is no linear time, and time is an illusion. So by you re-scripting it and reimagining it, can't say that word, that it's actually you are going back in time and changing that potential outcome, because everything's a potential. It's all happening now and not in the past.
And that's what Pamela told me 5 years. That's exactly what she said. And I thought, no, how can that possibly work? I mean, obviously I didn't take her all that seriously because I waited 5 years to do it.
Well, that's the 3D linear thinking, and that was 5 years ago. You weren't as spiritually awake as you are now.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now I'm super excited to reimagine all the other traumas in different ways.
Wow, that's very interesting. So that's something that I mean, you guys look up. I'm sure you could just type in videos, and it's called rescripting. And it's I've actually done it before too. And there's a guy called Neville Goddard that does it, and Dr. Joseph Murphy. It's basically just getting yourself in, calming yourself, taking a few breaths, maybe doing a little meditation or prayer, just going back. And even if it's just the day, some people do it just for the day. If you had a bad day, if you had a fight and you wish you didn't react to that, you can go back and like pretend, like rewind it and pretend how you wish you reacted. Like you can go back and pretend that you never said that, or you just walked away, or you said something different. And like you said, Carrie, and like when most people would say, well, how the hell, come on, that it doesn't erase what happened. How can that erase? But if we think, we're thinking again with our linear mind, limited thinking, but it works because you move that energy, and it's even if you just resolve it in your mind, so to speak, because there is that.
It's also letting go of it.
Linear.
Yeah, and it's letting go of the past. You know, I mean, that's what this whole ascension thing is about. It's like we have to stop looking at all the mistakes we made. I mean, we all make, listen, we're only human. Everybody's made mistakes, or maybe hurt somebody that you didn't want to. And that's what that is. It's sort of like, okay, I'm resolving it in my mind, you know, so that I can now move forward and let that go. But so you essentially you let that 11-year-old heal. That's essentially what you did. And now you're like looking at it, oh, it's no big deal. So it's so important, you know. And I think too, with everything that's going on in the world, you know, being able, like, what the other thing that I've done in the past is, if there's something that I'm so angry about, like I actually need to do this because I'm having major issue with my mother. But yeah, I think what I do what I do is I write it down. I write everything down that I want to say, blah blah blah. Go fuck yourself. No, just kidding. and then I burn it, and I say, okay, I'm done. I said what I needed to say. I acknowledge the agony, the pain of what I'm going through right now. What I said, what I needed to say to her, even though it wasn't to her. And now I'm done. I'm forgiving myself. I'm moving forward at this point. And it works. It does work.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Getting it out. Because I just want to reiterate, first of all, none of us is perfect, okay?
No.
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about our issues. I mean, come on. If something happens, the first thing I do is I get on the phone and I'll call CHRISSY, or I'll text Lori, or call Lori, or call my husband, whatever. But when you just, like, I have this cousin, I love him to death, but he just keeps on the same, and he's had a tough break. Okay, I wouldn't want his life. I mean, it's a tough break, but it's the same stories over and over and over again. And I try and I try and I try and go, good vibrations. Jason B's here. Good. I'm glad he's here because he's the therapist we need. Jason, how do you handle people that just don't want to move forward? It's like they keep the same. And
it's hard.
I don't know if people can, like, I do everything. And he's been in therapy for years and years and years and years and years. But it's just like he just can't get past it. And I'm wondering, and I feel that that's when you just know that there has to be an energy and has to be spiritual. Because if somebody's done everything that they possibly can, they've done the therapy, they've done the shadow work, they exercise, they eat right, they change their diet, some people need meds, some people do. But it's like they can't move forward. They're still stuck. And that's when you know it's energy. So they're stuck in that energy. So I feel it's like it's that victimization becomes their identity.
That's what it is.
I don't understand how people can't, and I'm not judging, but I just know that and I know I was stuck in it for a long time too. We all do, especially when you're younger, you're the victim and you get attention by being the victim. But there comes a certain point when, do you get sick and tired of being sick and tired?
that's it. And that's what motivated me. I was like, enough already, Carrie, come on. Let it go. But
You're
you
like,
know, I've also been in therapy, and I've talked to the therapist about that experience, and that didn't solve a thing. It was
what did
having,
that,
you know,
what
it was
did that
having to
therapist,
actually sit down and rewrite it and
what did
rescript
your
it.
therapist say to you? What did, how, what did, I mean,
The therapist agreed that all the adults in the situation completely failed me. They did. Like they
okay, so you
did.
had validation. So the therapist gave you validation, but
Right.
that's not what you were looking for. You weren't looking for validation so much. You were looking for, how do I resolve that little 11-year-old that was hurting?
Yeah. And yeah.
How do I do that? And the therapist doesn't really know. I mean,
Right.
because basically they don't know. That's what the therapists do. I think a lot is they validate. Because, like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when I was growing up, my father was always, I mean, never validated it. I'd get upset about something. Oh, you're being ridiculous. I mean, it's the Italian way, right? Oh, calm down. You're being ridiculous. You know, blah blah blah. And I
Mm-hmm.
was never validated about anything, you know. And then I'm like, well, I don't care because I know in my, like, I'm just strong that way. Okay, so I didn't need that. In other words, like I didn't,
Good.
you know. But some people, they go to therapy because they want somebody to listen to them and to be validated. But then that's fantastic. But then how do you heal that 11-year-old? Like, what
Right.
were you given any kind of tools? Did they say, well, you need to, you know, maybe look? It's because it's a spiritual thing. Like Delphine said, it's spiritual. That's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. It's the work that you have to do spiritually to heal.
Yeah,
You can't.
I found that in all the years of therapy that there's all the general tenets and principles of psychology, because I've been to so many therapists and I've studied it, and I didn't go to school. Like
Right.
I'm not a licensed therapist like our Jason Brian there, but I've gone to therapy and I'm spiritual, but I've realized that, and I've done my own research and read books and stuff, but
Hmm.
the tenets of spirituality and psychology are very, very similar. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't do it in depth, but
Yeah.
it's just loving yourself and having clear boundaries and taking back your power. It's all that. But the biggest thing that, if there's any takeaway tonight, is that and just like what the boys did last night, it's taking back our power. It's just not. We have to stop identifying ourselves as the victims. We have to stop identifying ourselves as,
Right.
I have cancer, or I have this disease, or I have that disease, or I'm this, I am that. Um, we just have to identify ourselves as spiritual light beings having a physical experience. And if we can empower ourselves and take back and kind of disperse that energy and stop talking about what's not working and talk about where we want to be and what we're thankful for. I mean, one of the biggest things that I've learned from Julie Green is that there's so much power in having Thanksgiving and being grateful for the blessings that we already have. Like God is saying, our healing's already there, our blessings are already there, everything is already there. When are you going to accept it? When are you going to believe me and
Exactly.
not the world? So we really have to believe the word of God and not the world. We have to believe that we're healed and not believe the symptoms. And I know that's really hard when you're in physical pain. Like I said, I never get,
Yeah.
I never went through childbirth. So you all mothers, I have the biggest, you know,
I know, right?
respect for.
I Me
So,
either. Yeah,
but I just
Carrie.
think that we just focusing on what we do have, focusing on our mind frame. These are things that we can do to, take back our power. And if we have a better mind frame, it's easier for us to deal with the physical and the psychological pain. And
Yeah.
be easy on ourselves. There's no book. There's not a booklet that says how to ascend 101.
No.
No, but
No.
I'll tell you that
I
that Ace of Cups said to me, "This is your top priority." This is way more important than cleaning the house.
Right. And I think that's a great point, that we have to make ourselves the top priority, because no one else is going to do it. No one is going to heal us. No one is going to make us feel better. No one's going to make us love ourselves. No relationship's going to do it. We have to do all the work ourselves. We have to claim our sovereignty. We have to claim our power. We have to claim our worthiness. We have to claim our strength, claim our healing, claim our abundance, claim it all. It's all written. I mean,
it's all there.
hey,
It's all there.
it's
What do you tell? Let me ask you this, Delphine. So my niece is like, she feels guilty when she to say that she, she doesn't want to go to this stupid wedding. I mean, it's her 30th birthday on the 11th of October, and her husband's family, somebody's getting married. She's like, I'm gonna have to drive 13 hours on my birthday, and nobody's doing anything about my birthday, and they care for me, but she feels selfish to say that she doesn't want to go. She wants to, do something else. She doesn't know how to say. What are you, both of you? What do you say to that? Like, because I'm trying to say, you have to stand up for what you want, and it's okay to be a little selfish. She's got two little kids. Her whole life is giving to other people. That's it. You take so much from her. She gets nothing back in return. Like, I'm talking on like an emotional level, just a spiritual level, on a friendship level. These people just take from her, and she feels guilty for saying she doesn't want to go to this wedding. I'm trying to tell her, you just need to. What would you tell her? Because I couldn't get through her.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to say that right now, I like this conversation, and I don't have too many questions. I have like a couple of questions, and I know Dennis is having something. So I think I'm going to, well, I do have a few questions. I'll do the 2 questions on Saturday night, because I feel that this is a good conversation, and I don't want to rush this show to go do questions. So Damien and Kendra, I'll be those first questions on Saturday night, but I'm going to not do tarot because I want to stick with this. And to tell you the truth, I am not feeling all that great. So I don't want to do tarot when I'm not 100%, folks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to call it. So Kendra, so first and foremost, I'm going to delete the show now. Okay. And the people that have bought questions, Kendra and Damien, I will do your questions first on Saturday night. I'm not 100%, and I don't want to do, I don't want to do it when I'm not 100%, and I'm sure you guys understand, and you don't want shitty tarot readings. What do you think, ladies?
I agree.
I think, I can go on any night and do tarot, but I think that this conversation is a really great conversation, and I don't want to rush it. So Damien and Kendra, I love you. I promise you guys, I will do your questions first on Saturday. I'm just, I'm not feeling a little.
She's very tired.
I'm already a little tired, so I can do this and we'll stay on a little longer, but I'm not feeling it for tarot, and I don't want to give you, I want to give you my 1,000%, as Jason B would say, 1,000%, and I can't do it. So I'm going to do it on Saturday. Anyway, I just deleted the broadcast. So anyway, what would I say? It's very hard to teach people to be assertive. They just have to do it. And people say, well, what will people say?
Yeah.
And I always say, okay, so people say, well, they'll be mad at me. Yeah. And I'll say, okay, but who cares?
Who cares? Right.
Right.
And what about, did that person think about how you feel? I noticed that people like that, they always think about how the other person thinks about them.
Yes.
But then I said, why don't they, did you ever think that, what about how you feel? What about that other person thinking about how you feel?
Right.
So it's it's very hard to teach people to put themselves first. And you have to put yourselves first, especially a mother, because if she has nothing, by the end of the day, she has nothing to give her child. I mean, look at working mothers. One of the main things about working mothers is I feel my hat's off to them, my heart's out to them, because they're so exhausted by the end of the day, they don't have hardly anything to give. So you just tell them. You have to stop thinking about what other people think of you. First and foremost, you could do everything in your power and kiss somebody's ass and they could think you're an asshole and hate you.
Right.
I mean, what you
So true.
right, you can't control. First of all, it's not your job to worry about what people think of you. It's not your business because, like you said, you could be so nice and so kind and people would still think you're a jerk. I mean, maybe people are jealous of you. Maybe they don't like you because you dress a certain way or you said the
Right.
wrong thing to them. So you can't control how people think. So you can't, I would say to your niece, you can't control what people are going to think. So why bother? The only thing you can't control is yourself.
Yeah.
And you teach people how to treat you.
Yeah.
And if you
That's
set
good.
boundaries,
Setting boundaries.
and that's it, then that's it. And no is a complete sentence.
Right.
You don't have to give anybody an explanation.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
what I tell people at my soul therapy sessions. I teach people how to be assertive.
Yeah.
You know, people don't realize I wasn't always so brazen and I didn't always tell people to fuck off.
Right.
And I wasn't always assertive. I used to be very, very timid and let people walk in me. And I used to be very fearful of confrontation. But after a while, you just sit there and go, why do I care? I used to sit there after a while, you get older and I said, why do I care about what these people think about me? Think to me?
Right.
Why do I think they don't give a shit about me? So why should I give a shit about them?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, you're never gonna. And I told her this. I said to her, you're not gonna change anybody's perception of you, whether you do something or not. You just have to like stand in what you want and stand up for yourself. It took me a lot. Listen, it took me a long time. I used to work. Oh God, I was horrible. The worst. I used to work at a messenger department, but I was it was a messenger, ABC messengers. They were serve papers to people, right? But I was in the investigation department, and the guy that I worked with, he was a tyrant. I mean, he would stand over me. Like I learned how to skip trays and do background investigations and all that, right? Well, I went through 3.5 years of hell working under him, and I think it's the last year, I finally started standing up for myself, and I'm like, it's hard because you're worried about your profession. Like, I wanted to be an investigator, so I was trying, first job as an investigator, right? So I was working my butt off, and I was like so afraid of getting, blackballed or whatever. He's gonna call people, and you have all these things in your brain that you go through. But then finally, I took my own, life in my hands, and I said, no, I'm done here. I'm done with another job, and it was fabulous, that job. So, it takes a while to get there, and that was when I was in my 20s. So, when you're 20 something, it's very good. You're still learning who you are and the boundaries, like you said, what you will and will not do. And by the time you're my age, it's like, okay, yeah, I could care what you think, whatever. I mean, do I want everyone?
Right.
No, but I'm not gonna like sit there and change my whole thinking or what I'm gonna do because of one person, people.
Right. How did you do it, Carrie? Is it, I think it just comes with age too. After a while, you just get sick and tired of, I just want to reiterate for those that are just coming in, like Chuck, I just put in the chat. I'm going to do it Saturday at 8 o'clock, like I usually do. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling that great tonight. And I don't want to give, less than 1,000%. I don't want to give crappy readings. And there was only 2 questions. So I figured I'd call it. So I will, Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will do your question, Damien, first, and Kendra, I promise. So it's always Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I figured I'd call it. Like I said, I don't want to do crappy tarot for you guys. I want to be at 1,000%. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Carrie. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Wait, what am I answering?
Now I forget. What the hell was I? What the hell? August.
Now we don't know what we're talking
about. I don't even know what the hell I just said. What the hell was I asking? What
You
was
were
it?
asking about what you would do, like how do you how do you deal with, kind of like
Oh
being
yeah, like how to assert,
okay
teach
with
assertion. Just
setting
yeah,
boundaries and stuff.
you just have to tell people to just be assertive and just just go in and just do what makes you have to go beyond your comfort zone and you have to speak up. I mean, I would have to
Yeah.
just, even if you have to like practice being assertive, you just do it. You just
Right.
be sometimes I'd say, here I have know what you're gonna say,
Mhm.
have an answer for every question, and
Yeah.
just being prepared.
You
um
learn. You learn over the years what works and what doesn't. Like something I've learned more recently is you just say, okay, if someone asks you to do something for them and you really don't want to, you can just answer as simply as, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
good.
yeah,
no excuses. No, don't go into all the reasons why. Just no, I'm sorry, that won't work for me.
I like
And
that.
leave it and just leave it hanging like that.
right,
Yeah.
like I said, no isn't, it doesn't, yeah, sorry, it just doesn't work
It's a
for me, or I
complete
have
sentence.
plans, or what are you doing?
Yeah.
I just have personal stuff, because sometimes people are just nosy, or
Yeah.
just
Well,
like,
yeah.
it's a
Hmm.
complete sentence. You don't have to, for some reason we feel like
Either.
we have to answer to everyone, and we don't have to answer to anyone but
No.
ourselves and God.
And
That's
God.
it.
That's it. Yep.
Exactly. Why do
Exactly.
we have to answer to anyone? Like you said, sorry, that doesn't work for me, or that doesn't work for me, or I don't, how about, do you want to do this? No, I'm not into that. Oh, you don't like that? No, I'm not into that type of music, or I don't like that type of thing,
Yeah.
or
Or I don't want to drive 13 hours to this thing. Why don't you just go with your family? I mean, it's just because you're married doesn't mean you have to do everything that you know what I mean? I mean, and she's given this family, she's given the couple that's getting married a gift and all that. Listen, she doesn't need to
No,
go. I mean,
no, she
it's
doesn't.
not necessary. And she holds down the fort with everything, the kids, the blah. And she's just like, I don't want to spend my 30th birthday doing that. I mean, and nobody even like looks at her, like nobody even like gets it is the thing. Like they don't even
right.
understand what she's saying or going through. I don't understand this. I've been very blessed in my life. I've always found amazing friends. I mean, I always have in every stage of my life. I mean, I'm very
You're
blessed.
right.
Well, look who I'm with, you know. But no, I mean, and she has no. She everybody that's ever in her life and in her wheel are just crazy. I don't even know, and it's like I think that she attracts it in some ways because she's not standing strong. And I told her to listen to this broadcast. Hopefully, she will. But I'm saying you got to stand strong in what you want. There's
Yes.
nothing wrong with saying no. Like she thinks that she feels guilty. Like, and that's an Italian thing as well. I mean, guilt trip. You know that the whole guilt trip of the Italians. She always be like, she's like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Blah blah blah. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
hard.
it is. It's just that's what I do. I mean, I do more coaching than anything, and just have to coach people. So I think the takeaway for tonight would be, and the takeaway for your niece, Taylor, who I love, she's a doll, is
Yeah.
just she's just gonna have to like set boundaries. And it's gonna
Mhm.
be hard at first because people say, well, I don't care what people think of me. We all say that, but we really do. I
Yeah.
mean, some people we don't give a shit if we don't like somebody, or if we don't really care about them. But
Right.
harder than when the people that we love and we do look up to. But we really, it's just, she just has to set boundaries, and just know, and just have an
Yeah.
answer. Be prepared, know what she's going to say, have her speech ready.
Mhm.
Have her practice if she has to practice to you or a mirror, and then just be
Yeah.
firm, and
Yeah.
just she has to be strong, and people be fearful. I mean, how do we deal with fear? We work through it. I mean, just
Right.
like when we were learning how to swim. I remember my dad, when he was teaching me how to swim in the pool, jump into my hand. I was so scared. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Oh, how many times? Come on. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna do it. And then, oh, you don't do it. And then finally, your parents are, come on, just do it.
Yeah.
And then usually there's someone jumps, like my sister. I think that bitch. I think she pushed me in finally. Or
Oh my God.
or you jump in, but you finally, or sooner or later you jump in and you do it, and then that's how you work through it. So
Yeah.
how do you work through it? You work through it by doing it. So
Yeah.
just you have to work through. Well, the only thing to fear is fear itself. So working through it and knowing that you're going to be okay. And I always
God has
say,
our back.
treat yourself the way your best friend would treat you. Okay, so if you
Mhm.
were looking at yourself and you take yourself and be like your higher self, or maybe think of it if you were God, not like we could think like God, but you're a child of God. Don't you think if God can forgive you and God can give you this all of this peace, why can't you give it to yourself?
Right.
People are very hard on themselves. So I think telling them to give themselves a break. You know,
Mhm.
if it doesn't go smoothly, if everything doesn't go perfectly, that's okay. But she has to do it. She just has to
Yeah.
start little by little and taking those steps. And sometimes you have to be a little uncomfortable, and that's okay to do things
Yeah.
that are out of your
Right.
comfort zone. That's how we grow. But that's what I would
Exactly.
tell your niece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feel the guilt and do it anyway.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I love
Yeah.
that. Feel the guilt and do it anyway.
Mhm.
That's
Great.
great.
Those are great words of wisdom, Carrie. Well, we have
Yeah.
about 10 more minutes left, and I wanted to, go off because I'm not feeling all that great. And
Yeah.
I don't think any of us are really, well, I think the ascension,
We're-
what is it? Carrie Kay said, like, her last video, was it 2 weeks ago? Something about the light codes. I'm just feeling awful. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
The light is it well, and you know what's so funny about that? This is like not yesterday, day before yesterday, I was out here in the back looking at the water, and I literally could see, which is so weird. I saw these like sort of like they I think they were supposed to be invisible, like sort of beams coming down into the water. And I tried to
Ooh,
get a picture, but it didn't work. So and
wow.
yeah, so it was trippy. So I thought, oh well, that might be like some of the energy that's coming in, and like why? Well, that's
Wow.
really ever since that book signing thing I did, I've been down, very like not motivated, to get up, and motivation has just been very low for me. And
Yeah.
yeah, like trying to get yourself going, and like, I finally did something, a couple of things on Tuesday. That was after a week and a half. Just like I got to get out of it, and it's hard, but I do think that that's part of what's going on. I think the energy is shifting, and we have to just sort of stay grounded, and try
Hmm.
to like in our mindset of, okay, it'll be better eventually. Just got to just get grounded, stay grounded and centered, and just keep with our meditations and stuff. I think that really does. Our prayers. I pray. I mean, that's what I do, and I pray out loud. Like Lisa was saying last night, it was like, no, I just talk to myself all the time. That's what I do. I mean, I live alone, right? So I'm always talking.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do about this, and blah blah blah, and I'll be talking whatever. About a week ago, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like talking to myself. Well, I just don't understand what I'm supposed to do here. This is so frustrating. And I'm talking to myself. My freaking neighbor next door. It was so. I just thought I was crazy. Like I said, oh yeah, I'm just trying to work something out. Is what I said because he heard me because my window was open. So he heard me talking. I was like so embarrassed. I was like, oh my god. Anyway, but he's like, oh no problem. He probably went back to his place, but it's a wackadoo. But that's what you have to do.
Yep. Yep.
To
Well, hey, I set boundaries tonight. I haven't been feeling well, so I
yeah,
said I'm not going to do tarot. So I
Yep.
did it. That's the prime example of setting boundaries. Well,
Mhm.
exactly.
all right. For the closing segment before we go tonight. Thank you. It was great to be on camera with you ladies again. We'll have to do this like once a month or so because I've been focusing on doing tarot, and I miss doing this. And I feel that, after the epic pep talk with the, with the divine masculine last night, we needed,
Boys.
we definitely needed, we definitely needed something big time. Yeah, we needed, we needed, it's just been too crazy. The energies, I don't know. Everyone's been down in the dumps. So, one of the takeaways that I wanted to do tonight, and if I can find it, it was a biblical verse, and I probably won't be able to find it. Okay, two things. I know these by heart. I don't know the verses, but I just want to have people remember two things. One is be still and know that I am God. Give it to God. Give everything to God. Your pain, your suffering, your anguish, how I'm going to pay this bill, everything. If we don't give everything to God, if we don't give a little bit of meditation and silence in our day, how can we hear God? And God is not a disembodied voice. You're not going to physically hear God. God is that still, deep inner voice that is not you, that talks to you inside your head, that loving parent, so to speak. So remember that verse, be still and know that I am God. Another thing, if God is for me, who can be against me? God is for every single one of us. Okay? God wants our blessing. God gave us our blessing. God, everything that we want is our divine birthright, our healing, our abundance, our joy, our happiness, everything in our life. All the things that we want, material, metaphysical, everything is our divine birthright. And if people don't like us, or if people are out to get us, just remember, if God is for me, who can be against me? We have divine protection. It doesn't matter what the world thinks of you. It doesn't matter what the world says about you. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks about you or what anyone says. If the whole world is against you, if God is for us, who can be against us?
Nobody.
And another thing, the Spirit of the Lord has set us free. So praise the Lord. Thank him for everything in your life tonight. Before you go to bed, thank him. Even if it's thank God that I can hear, touch, taste, smell, because there's somebody that's blind that can't hear, that can't see. There's somebody that's deaf tonight that won't ever hear music. There's somebody that without arms that will never be able to type or to do anything. There's somebody without legs, somebody without hair. So every single blessing, everything that we have in our lives, we have gratitude for. And just like the Jay said last night, don't let this be the first thing that you do every morning. Let the first thing that you do as soon as you wake up and say, this is the new day. Let me be thanks and be glad. Thank you, Lord God. Praise the Lord. This is going to be a great day. This day is a new day. Tomorrow's the past. This is today. It's going to be a great day. Today is the day. And set your intentions. Do your affirmations. Do your prayers. Even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, listen to if you can't meditate, listen to some music. Do some mantras while you focus. Do walking meditations. But take time for you. And the biggest thing too, another big takeaway is give yourself a break. Like we said, there is no book that says, there is no booklet or course that it says Ascension 101, how to ascend.
Right. I wish. We'd be like, okay, well, this is what we're going through now. The next thing is this. I mean, we have no idea. We're just winging it out here.
Right. I'm surprised somebody isn't teaching it and charging for it.
Definitely dumping your baggage, though, is got to be part of it.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard, but like Carrie said, that rescripting, it just rescripting, even if you can just do it daily. Like Brian Scott, he's on YouTube, just Brian Scott. He does
Yeah,
great,
he's
he has
good.
great videos, and he was I listened to him all during 2020, and you can do it daily. If you had a bad day, or if there was a situation where you wish that you hadn't said that, or you didn't act the way you wanted to, and you wish you could change it, go back and rescript it.
Yeah.
People say, well, it doesn't change it. Well, in your linear thinking, it doesn't change it. But we all know that time is not linear. Maybe it is here, but everything's
Right.
happening simultaneously spiritually. And that's more important than the linear, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
And like
For
you said,
sure.
Carrie, even though it didn't really change the event, it changed the energy, and you were able to
you
move on.
did. And I'm feeling really neutral about it now, and I've never felt neutral.
Well, you used
So
to be
I did
mad,
it.
right? You used to get angry. You were upset. And
Yeah,
now
I
it's
was.
like, oh no, I let that go. You let it go. You did what you had to do. You confronted it. You said
Right.
what you needed to say, and now you're done. Like, and you're at peace with it. That's what that neutral is. You're at peace with it.
Right, and I didn't have to. I didn't have to go to my mother 44 years,
Later.
after the event and say, "Why did you do this?" What good would that do? Right?
Right. Right. She probably wouldn't even remember it. Or sometimes you'll never get the apology. You'll never get or sometimes they won't even acknowledge that they did it. Especially if you have a real gaslighting narcissist mother like I do, and a lot of people or mates or whatever. So
Yeah.
you don't need them to acknowledge it. You forgive for you, you know,
Hmm.
um, and you move on. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. And so just keep on going, Soul Tribe. Just keep on
Yeah.
keeping on, and just don't look back. I always say, look forward. When you're driving, you don't look back, because if you do, you get in an accident, crash, and burn. Just look forward. The miles behind you just got you to where you are. That's it. You're not your past. You're not what happened to you. You're not your job. You're not your bank account.
Right.
We're not even our names, really. We are divine beings in meat suits.
Yep.
So just remember that.
Exactly.
Give yourself a break. No is a complete sentence. And you alone are responsible for your life, how people treat you. No one's going to do it for you.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. Well, thank
Mhm.
you for being on with me, Soul Sisters. I love you very much. I'm going to, for all those people, yes, I did delete my broadcast. I'm not going on to doing tarot. I'm not feeling great. I'm going to go and lie down.
Yeah. Go.
I can't, and I'll see you on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for tarot, folks.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
guys. Love
I
you
love
guys.
you, Soul Tribe. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
See you on Saturday. Bye.
Bye. Later.